Alright, so we are up at the dojo, and I've got things somewhat set up for class today. I have about 20 minutes before class starts. I hung up my genealogy of martial arts here, and it might be difficult to see, but I'm going to chat about this quickly here. Well, for me quickly, it may take a while. There are 5 basic systems here that I have trained. There are more that I have trained, but I've only got 5 of them listed up here right now, and of those 5 there are 9 different lineages. So with the ninjutsu here, of course it starts up there with the Hatsumi and it goes down to James, and across over here I also trained with James with my Kali Salat, and I did get the opportunity to train with Bruce Ogle. As far as the ninjutsu goes, let's go back over here. I trained with James and I trained with Suk Sundao. I never trained with Fumio Manaka or Hatsumi. I never trained with them. Now we go over here to the Kali Salat, and I trained with James and I trained with Bruce, although I never trained any higher than that on this line. So those are 2 of the 5. Now Aikido, I have 2 different lineages that I trained. So I did train with a guy named Sean Robertson, who was from Fort Wayne, and I trained with him. Now there was somebody in between him and Satomi. I don't know who it is. He never really mentioned. He mentioned that he trained directly with Satomi, but he also was in a group class, and I don't think it was always directly with him. So I believe there is a middle person there. I just don't know who it is, and I am unable to contact Sean anymore. I don't know where he went. I do have somewhere, and I honestly don't even know if I've got it on MP4 yet, but I do have some training with him on video somewhere. And then Michael Bandy is my Kijutsu Kai Aikido, goes up to Thomas Makiyama. I have only trained with Michael. I have not trained with Thomas, and I never got to train with Gozo Shiota either. But and then both of these guys go straight up to Morihei Ueshiba, and then his line continues here. Now I have tons of video with Michael, training with him. I do have some training videos with Sean somewhere. As far as the Kali goes, I do not have any videos from back in the day, because I did not have a video camera in the 80s and early 90s. So I do not have any video of the Kali training. The ninjutsu stuff, I do have some. It's pretty bad footage. I don't know if I have transferred that over yet. Then we go into, we go from the ninjutsu, the Kali Salat, the Aikido, then we're going to go into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have 3 different lines of people that I've trained with. And so American Top Team, I trained with American Top Team with Carlos Diaz. He came to America. He came to the United States because of Chad Wagner, my Chad Wagner line here. Chad brought him to the United States, brought him to Indiana, and he started Indiana Top Team. Carlos did. I really don't have any information about his instructors. He was very, I think he trained with a lot of people, and I never did get a definite line on him. So Carlos Diaz from American Top Team, who came to Indiana and started Indiana Top Team, trained with him. James Klingerman, my Klingerman line. So he trained under Mario Roberto, and then Anibal Braga. And then of course it goes up to the Gracies. Now, I've got a lot of footage with James, but he did not ever want me showing any of the videos. That part of the deal with me filming the footage was that I was not to be placing it on YouTube. He does his own YouTube channel, and he didn't want that stuff out, so I still have it. It's just not posted. And then Chad is one of the few that was very instrumental in my martial arts. Chad and James were the top two, honestly. But Chad is the reason I was able to get into MMA and get to do all the fantastic stuff I got to do. But Chad's line goes to Mario D'Amata, and then that goes back up to Carlson Gracie. So there's my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and then of course it goes up to Kano and the Kano's line right there. So there are my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu lines. Now, in my early days when I first began martial arts, I studied Shorin-ryu, Matsumura style Shorin-ryu. So I have two different lines for my Shorin-ryu. The very first person I ever trained under was Ray Murphy, and he trained under James Kennedy, and it goes up to here, but we'll go ahead and jump over to Larry Martin. Larry Martin was the second Shorin-ryu instructor, and the second instructor that I ever had, and James Nielsen, which is the same James Nielsen, which is the Kali Salat, which is the same Jim Nielsen, which is the ninjutsu. He is the most prolific person on my line here. And then he trained under James Sargent, and then Sargent was with Kennedy, and then of course Kennedy here and Kennedy here, the same person goes up here, and then it continues on to Matsumura himself, and then his line continues there. So that's the 5 basic styles that in the 9 lines that I have. There are more. There's several more that I have trained. I just don't have listed yet. My sword comes from Michael Bandy. Well, the basis of it comes from Michael Bandy from the Aikido line. In the Shinkage-ryu Kenjutsu, but that along with the ninjutsu line, I have some sword there, and so that's where I get most of my basis for the sword, from those 2 lines there, the Aikido and the ninjutsu. And let's see here, I did study a style called Dan-ryu in North Carolina, under Dan Terry. He created the system. I trained it a little bit, just something to do, more just hanging out with the guy and kind of martial art buddies type thing. I did train his system. I did enjoy it. I don't have it listed. It just goes Dan, and then I don't know anything about his training. I never brought it up, and he never mentioned it, so I really have no clue. I have done an entire video just on him, so if you're really interested in that, you can go check that out. Let's see, what else? Military, when I was in the Army, I did Sikaran, which was the military combatives back in the 80s and 90s. And let's see, it was a combination of Sikaran, which is kind of like Filipino Taekwondo. It's a kicking art, and they tend to enjoy high flashy kicks. Get this fixed here real quick. There we go. So it was a mixture of Sikaran from the Philippines and Shotokan karate. I did that. I didn't like it. They wanted me to actually teach the combatives system in the Army, and I told them no. So I've done that one. There's a few more, and then of course I've been doing martial arts for 45 years. So I'm very eclectic, and I'm a gatherer. I pick and choose what I want from here, here, and here. I've done kickboxing. I've done boxing. Wrestling, judo, all of that stuff is something that I've trained, but not necessarily specifically under an individual, and you know, it's just things I've picked up from here and there and stuff to that nature. I have had a boxing match. I have boxed before in a ring. I have considered getting in the kickboxing ring recently, just for shits and giggles, which is the only reason I did the boxing thing, was just because. And I have been considering at 57 getting into the kickboxing ring, just for shits and giggles, just because I'm 57 and I can. So I also have considered actually getting back in the cage. You know, I want to do that too. I don't know. Again, just because, there's no real reason. I don't need to. I don't have to. Just, you know, who wouldn't want to see a 57-year-old get into a cage again, right? I mean, if I win, yay for me. If I lose, I mean, what do you expect? I'm probably going to be fighting a 20-year-old. You know. Anyway, win-win for me. So anyway, there we go. That's the basic 5 with the nine styles, different styles there. So again, thank you guys. And so, what really spawned this video, honestly? Well, I like to watch YouTube channels, and I like to comment on, and all I watch is martial art videos. That's all I watch. It's like 100% at this point. And I like to comment. Now, I don't consider myself a mean, nasty, trollish commenter. But if I disagree with something, I'll mention it. Now, I will also say, for me, hugely important, that's not something I would do personally. Or for me, that won't work. For me. May work for you, that's fine. I would never do that, and it wouldn't work for me. So when I say something like that, I try to preface it with the fact is, this is just a personal opinion, and it's just for me. I'm not talking about anybody else.